Cloudburst and the thirsty ground. And her heart twirled so fast, it became a slow waltz of time and space, and a forgotten bird song, landing softly in the darkness of crickets outside her window, a blanket of moon, and shadowy caves where summer would hide until spring. And the beauty was the spinning and the stillness, and the hush that swallowed them all, as they plunged into the fire and forgot about the dregs of tomorrow that lay in their cups. The intoxication was complete, and her name was love, spinning all and everything into the fabric of aliveness, melting in love's fire. Colors unfurl, flying off the pages of our lives, wings of our hearts, beating this and that, the heartbeat of existence. Without two, we are not. Without love, I am not. Sailing in sunset, bathed in the colors of unknowing. There are no reference points at all. No solidity, no liquidity. All is a swirling thought dream that creates itself. And we meet in the dance of this and that dances us apart and together, where we merge and fall in love with the love, of one, of two, of many, of none. We are the wind and we are the spinning, autumn leaves hanging in their golden splendor, bower of lace pirouetting across the ground. And there is no ground upon which to stand, or sky in which to twirl, or need of wings or feathers or skin. Underneath the skin of desire we are not. We are not. Love is not. Yet love spins her tail, spreads her wings, and the world of this and that is born, as it simultaneously dies, without ever having been or not been. Sky has brushed your cheek where the rain fell last night, and the sumptuous of life and the marvel of love. And the waves laughed and wept at their wondrous reflections in endless ocean of sky, flowers blooming into petals falling, wind brushing light and color into the rippling seas, iridescence tenderly kissing its shimmering reflection. Rainbows bloom and sail across the sea of dreams, skimming whirlpools of wonder into rivers of song, where nothing hides under the overhanging banks and waits to be discovered. So all can disappear again into these very words that slid off the pages of your life as your life dissolved into simply life, writing and erasing itself, dancing across your eyes, painting rainbows and tears and doves, floating to the ground, and the coffee maker burbling, riding the tail winds of summer, brushing morning into evening and evening into night. No day was ever separate from night. No darkness nor light exists without you. And you are a moon song, sailing through eons of memory. Are you ancient? Are you new? Are you at all? Anything other than this thought stream, intimately humming your name? Vibrations of this and that percolate your blood and bones into a lover's dance, where no one is dancing, not even love. Why does it feel like love? There are no more whys, as there is nowhere, nor how, nor who, except that owl I might have heard late last night. He perches on the telephone pole outside our bedroom window, ripping the flesh of midnight mice, feathers falling down. Memory is like a foreign movie where you used to know the language and no longer care that you don't, and that seems unutterably beautiful. The scenery slides into and through itself. Layers of transparent magic seem to flow through a music that is undefinable. There are no separate notes and no time or space upon which the music, the dream of life, is painted. This is like love, but unlike any ideas of love. I cultivated and was the longing for this immense, all-consuming unknowing, and the drifting songs of stars, bursting into infinite colors that have no name except in the naming of them, falling through endless oceans of color, softness soaring through softness. There is no bottom or surface to the shimmering. No place can be found, and none is looked for. There is no compulsion to capture this wind song. It is all the song of winds, swirling, drifting through echoes of echoes of echoes, and the beauty of sinking stones and hearts, and how love floats through it all. My heart is still, and yet it beats. It is no longer mine. It never was. Songs of yesteryear paint this flowing dreamscape, falling into a sigh. We are this sigh of wonderment, love songs drifting. Threads of thought seem to braid this tangling dream and simultaneously dissolve the enchantment. Meandering river without beginning or end, shimmering pirouette of light in light. The spiraling unwinds in a circular fashion. Whirlpools of water songs untie the knots that made them. Love overflows its banks, flowing everywhere and nowhere. Waterfalls of wind and tall trees dancing serenade the canyon. I sing, breathing clouds, raining again into rivers. You pull back the curtains, waiting for the day that never comes. Colors leak through the doors, stoking the fire in your heart. Every day you wait for the bus, but it never comes. Towns and cities and continents fly by as your life falls from your footsteps. Cricket song and dark, smooth, the occasional sound of distant cars. Tsunami of hope and fear and deep, deep despair break the sound barrier as it crashes through infinite mirrors that appeared to reflect a future and a you in it. Shards of light and dark shred all tomorrows and eviscerate the past. Stars rush in to feel the wake of silence, ever lingering. Days no longer rush past. There is no place from which to view this dance of obvious aliveness that has no edge nor center. Reds and greens flow into infinite feathers dancing across your cheek, flowing through your mind stream, where all appears and dissolves in utter astonishment. This elusive, all-encompassing jewel of aliveness is recognized as a centerless, edgeless jewel. Love spins around her own axis in a wondrous pirouette of nothing and everything, merging and dissolving in this very kiss. Is the taste of sweetness more alive than this bitterness on my tongue? The sweetness of love more alive than the despair of loss? Is it me loving you? Is this obvious, vibrant aliveness a current connecting things and people? Without imaginary separation, there is no love flowing from here to there, from me to you. As soon as we appear, we are the longing and fear to dissolve into each other, into this bliss of no things where we do not exist. If there are no things, there is no bliss nor love. Perhaps the zing of aliveness is this constant appearing and dissolving, life self-arising and self-erasing, never actually crystallizing into something. And it is this elusive wondrousness, this ungraspable magic that we all sense and most fear. We become the trying to hold life as we know it is indeed magical. Yet this emptiness we sense as our hands, our hearts, cannot have or hold aliveness. They are this aliveness. This feeling of emptiness may swallow the imaginary grasp or understanding or knowing what life is. The false edifice of knowing collapses, and there is simultaneously the dream of things constantly, yet without time or the lack of time, simply, magically, obviously happening without ever actually happening. All a beautiful unknowing, ephemeral, light without light, space without space, love in and as through love. We are sideways glimpses of dissolving photographs, dissolving into the absence of moon. This aliveness, so obvious, so untranslatable, so unapproachable, so all-encompassing. Wind flowers falling through wind. No moon tangled in feathered black under the grasses. Waves wait for wind. Love songs softly in opalescent dawn. Cloudburst and the thirsty ground. Not knowing what love is and not asking. Floating, edgeless, dissolved in the dissolving, without space or time, or spacelessness or timelessness. No one is floating, yet the feeling of unknowing, of no reference points, is like awe, like love, like there is nothing like this, as there is no other, nor this, that can be compared. Certainly not two, nor one, nor not two, nor not one. And what lies in between the lines after they dissolve, when the words lose all meaning and non-meaning, when they twist and twirl across the page, and it is a pirouette of wonder, no matter what the dance looks and feels like, when there are no feet, nor footprints, nor sand, nor ocean of bliss in which to rest. Waves softly lapping on a non-existent shore. Ocean without water, wet without wetness, tears, the beauty, the beauty, the beauty, love. Cartwheels of sky, acres of moon, there are no miles waiting to be found, hidden under the dusty road. 'Neath your weary shoes is a mirage that you cannot leave or enter. While you are here you may bathe in the waters, shimmering, and drink deeply this love, pouring. Will your thirst be quenched? I cannot say. Was I ever thirsty? Or was I this thirst to consume the rainbows that danced through me, as I slid down the infinite colors of love soaring through me? The death of tomorrow was my drink. It melted my rainbows, my hands, my heart, my life of seeking other. Now the ocean of painted mirages bathes me in infinite reflections, caresses the softening moon into poems that never held beauty, words that never held love, suspended without time or timelessness, as edgeless beauty feels like a dream of love. For it is all echoes blooming and fading and beating our hearts, dancing in a rhythm that can never be lost or found. No need to listen, as all is heard just as it fades. Thin thread of thought paints the feathers and the flight, bursts the petals and the bloom. There are no stars without you falling through sky. I feel like a star-struck lover who dissolved into the stars in her eyes, dancing in the flames as her world burned, covered in ashes as the dam of tears exploded into ocean, leaving no one inside the flames, under the ashes, or weeping these tears. Young girl walking, her long hair and wind. Street sweeper slowly growling by, his brushes retracted, fingers strolling through the internet of tears. There is no one pretending. We are pretense itself, made up, imaginary lovers, singing. How can I write a love song when it is love that sings me? How can I sing about echoes blooming and falling softly into pools of reflections, drowning in their own rippling beauty? Whirlpools and eddies seem to hide under the banks, but love will drown you in her own tears, and you will no longer care where wetness lies. Closer than close, the nest of empty shadows swirled into a night without darkness and a moon without light. Reflections of love songs seemed to rain, ripple, and swing, like the ghost of rain, that long, long summer of cricket nights, laying in the heavy grasses, rainbows caught in drops of moonlight. I remember the tears. Love pours into these lines, floating through the page. The wording catechit of this and that announces a heartbeat and a breath that seems to run through this lover's story. Finches are back at the feeders now that the rain has paused. Love never pauses to kiss you. She has never not, you have never not, been this perfect kiss. She waited all her life for the perfect sunset, bathed in the colors of morning. Is beauty real? How about love? Real, unreal, surreal. All have lost their meaning. Meaning has lost its meaning. And yet this feels beautiful. It feels like love, to not know, to not care, how or why. This obvious, elusive aliveness, this love song, these words, these tears, these doves floating down, wings and dancing through your feathers, elegant caress of wind in wind sliding into sky, line of thought weaves rhythm and rhyme, vanishes as it appears, never here, never not here. No one can catch the morning sun. No heart is empty or full. Where are the lines around your heart that could hold all this love? This illusory world is illusory. Golden finches at the feeders, bulldozers on the street, 2 feet of mud. Stars explode inside my head. Moon floats in the neighbor's pond. Tears and blueberries upon arising. This world just the same, never the same. Blackbird's iridescence astounds. The desire to sing, to soar, to love oscillates starlight into love's resonance. Her echo is skinless as we dance in this space without space. Cheshire cat dissolves into moon. Moon dissolves into her own reflection. You are nothing more or less than desire, the movement to find an idea. The lure of forgotten shores, footprints born of wind and sand, and an elusive emptiness. Like a song you maybe once heard, before time forged your story in the towering cliffs that began to crumble as soon as the sun and wind were born. There were the sound of trees and tears falling. Looking for solidity, for ideas like truth and meaning, holding on to the edge of everything and nothing, longing and terrified to let go and to hold on, looking for the lines that define you, you slide off the Mobius strip as all edges dissolve. They never were, nor were you. Knowing there is no other, no reference points whatsoever, no place or time from which to view, no solidity at all, no liquidity. There is no knowing how this is obvious, and no one left to care. Eternity collides with emptiness, infinitely, intimately, closer than the tongue in your mouth, closer than your breath, your heartbeat, so close. There is no space, nor lack of space. Thought ignites the fire of morning, song of light paints the canyon, softly your world blooms, all and everything is revealed in the play of this and that, clearly enunciating itself with light and shadow and colors and gray. Before time, after time, when will your world slide into infinite beauty? There is no next, when galaxies will spin faster or slower, when you will explode into sky flowers, when the universe will tap you on the shoulder and give you the key to your heart. Flash of lightning in this blackest of nights appears to expose a path. Where will you go when there is no tomorrow? Nothing need be or can be added or removed. There are no things or non-things. This scintillating liquid light dream is and is not. And how we longed to wade in rainbow flowers and found we always were. Softly, softly, golden door of sunset shuts. Last birds leave the feeders, all sinks into transparent wonder. What can be said about this when the singing isn't? Sound swallows sound, silence swallows silence. Nothing hides within this hush. Tears are their wetness. This rush of aliveness burns itself. There are no ashes, no echoes from tomorrow, bleeding into the day. Murmuration of thought swoops and sweeps through its own creation of time and space, separating and joining the vault of sky. Threads of thought weave these tattered wings, ripping sky into clouds and merging again into the shimmering. Feeling separate from thought, from feeling, makes it feel like there is a you who can control thought and feeling. And yet, it is quite obvious that thought and feeling, like all of life, seems to happen quite spontaneously. This dissonance seems to be very painful for some, yet overlooked or ignored by most. Shopping, travel, drugs, etc. are all distractions from that great big maw of utter emptiness that is your own very heart. I can feel your heart breathing songs in all the wild places. Morning sings across the canyon. Light leaves no signature in the evaporation of dew. Footprints on the trail, wind, a dream of echoes lightly, and the rippling ground. Every poem is only a poem. Nothing is hidden or revealed in these words. There are no things underneath or between the letters falling through your heart. Under the moon, empty sky. Under the sky, no moon, no sky. What cannot be caught by this net of words, this train of thought crashing? I am a river of reflections. There is no light dancing through light. No darkness is revealed when the candle is extinguished. I was not, nor were you, nor this beautiful, fragile life, nor this love, nor these tears, simply a rippling dream, dreaming of rippling. Dream of light, dream of morning, dream of a feather falling, and a river of echoes pouring. Dreams of reflections, dreams of echoes, dreams of dreams, dreaming. Where is the wind and grasses waving when you are not? Thread of thought embroiders the space in which poems unfurl your wings. Sky slides through your heart, shreds the boundary between you and love. And the smooth and unsung backbeat of timeless time reverberates unceasingly throughout the poem that sings you. I'm just sitting here in front of a computer like you. Dark now, the raccoons woke me. Traffic starts to drift slowly through this small town. It sounds like wind and the river, small now because of drought. Ate 3 figs and a bite of rice left over from last night's dinner. Don't want to cook as it will wake my husband. Crickets adorn the dark, and I love you for dancing with me in this ballet where I cannot twirl without you. Like sky, like clouds, like waves, like sea, effortlessly suspended, sublime elegance of unknowing, winged beauty of love hovers between all ideas of time and space and love. Drifting through clouds, we are clouds drifting. Wind-blown dragon clouds beckon. A scrap of poem murmurs as you dissolve into sky. How to undress the dark from night, unweave the tides from moon, unspeakable nakedness of this life without other, intimately, infinitely, only, ever, love. Your very nakedness unravels and the universe rushes through your heart as your heart drops. Thunder of sound, thunder of silence. You never were naked or clothed in this rainbow raiment, this swirling watercolor dream. Splashes of not even nothing dissolve in patternless patterns on the broken walls of your heart. All slips through the cracks in the dissolving sidewalk, pours through the absence of the ground of being and erases all ideas of love. And you bathe in waterfalls of color, wetness gazing out, through wetness gazing in, infinitely intimate, super saturated, all and everything, a dream of lovers, dreaming love. And you find yourself crashing through your reflection, broken shards of echoes eviscerate sound and silence, shards of colored ink slide through your skin. Underneath there is not even nothing, nothing above, no surface of reflections, simply a thought dream, a pirouette of song, disappearing as soon as it appears. Tattoos swirl and dissolve in this dream ballet, nakedly intimate, infinitely naked. This is a lover's song, without lovers. How we longed for and feared the absence of knowing, our nakedness unraveling, and finding not even nothing under the clothes of desire. That there is a someone who speaks and that there is a something that is said is the illusion of separation. That there is a thing called perception and a thing that perceives is the wondrous illusion of separation. That there is a thing called wonder is wondrous. The feeling that there are separate things divided by a thing called space, and that there are separate events on a timeline against a separate thing called space, is a fantastical dream created by the belief in thought, which is like a razor seemingly dividing this from that, here from there, an inside from an outside, and a you from me. Thought also seems to create imaginary things like love and enlightenment, and a you who is separate from them. This word ballet twirls and weaves a lustrous illusion of separation, a dream of this and that, never and forever, and a you in the middle of this whirling enchantment who seems to move and think and feel but is inseparable from the dance. But no matter how hard you look, you cannot find an edge or outside to this water-colored dream ballet. And if there is no outside, there is no inside. There is no other, there is no more, there is no next. You cannot grab something and take it out of all this. Where would it go? Nothing can be added. Where would it come from? Yet your dreams of more continue. You are the dream of other, the waiting for love, for enlightenment, for this better magical dream spell to spin you into a better or non-existent self, or whatever you have heard or read about, a promised land where love kisses you with her wild wings and you fly away. But you have never been, nor will you ever be. You cannot improve or erase yourself. Are there two of you in there? Is there an inside or outside? Where is the line? Your skin? Is the wind separate from your skin or the feeling of wind? There is no one separate from what seems to appear, to know or not know. Yet this seamlessness is obvious, and there is no knowing how it feels like this, and no looking. All is silent. There is no silence. All is love. There is no you, nor me, nor love. I love you.